Good morning, everyone, and thank you for your patience. My name is Landscape Architect Dr. Muhammad Saluddin, and I will be the host for today's YTL Cement Building Better Together 2021 virtual seminar. We hope through this virtual seminar, we could promote better solutions towards environmental sustainability of our built environment by applying the right material in our projects. The YTL Cement Building Better Together virtual seminar series act as a platform for experts and industry practitioners to discuss, share, and gather insights to collectively elevate the construction industry across the region. Today's topic, part of the architectural series, is curated as public realm landscape design using sustainable concrete solution in Kuala Lumpur, where we will explore the application of pervious concrete in landscape project and how it plays a fundamental role in sustainable landscape design. This session is in conjunction with YTL Cement's launch and rebranding of its pervious concrete solution called AquaBuild, which is previously known as Hydromedia. AquaBuild is a fast drain pervious concrete solution that rapidly directs stormwater off streets, parking surfaces, driveway, and walkway. This webinar will last around 1 hour and 15 minutes. We will start with sharing session of landscape project in public realm of Kuala Lumpur, followed by video on AquaBuild. Then we will continue with question and answer session with the panels. So if you have any question, please reserve the question until the question and answer session. For ILAM member, you are entitled of 1 CPD points, so please ensure to be in the webinar until the end. A warm welcome to our speaker, Landscape Architect Khairul Amin Mirza Hussein, Assistant Director Landscape at Dewan Bandaraya Kuala Lumpur, and Dr. Jagatis Kanadasan from Business and Product Development of YTL Cement. We are delighted to welcome our participants internationally and nationally from the industry, ranging from professional body, consultant, local authority, corporation, contractor, government agency, developer, academicians, and students. Indeed, we are grateful for all of your presence today. Welcome to the Public Realm Landscape Design Using Sustainable Concrete Solution in Kuala Lumpur webinar series. Now, let's start with our first speaker, Landscape Architect Khairul Amin. But first, please allow me to extend some of his background. So Landscape Architect Khairul Amin Mirza Hussein graduated from University Putra Malaysia with a degree in Landscape Architecture and Master of Science in Urban Planning and Design from University Technology Mara. He is currently the Assistant Director of Landscape at Dewan Bandaraya Kuala Lumpur. He was involved in various notable landscape development projects such as Rimba Kiara Park, Laman Tun Perak, Laman Sultan Ismail, Bulatan Merdeka, Laman Sogo Pocket Park, Jalan Tuanku Abdul Rahman, Jalan Lebuh Ampang, River of Life, and Heritage Trail. He was also part of the landscape architect team from DBKL that produced the Kuala Lumpur Urban Design Guideline. He is a certified children playground safety inspector and is recently elected as the chairman of ILAM All-Star Youth Chapter of Institute Landscape Architect Malaysia. With that, I would like to welcome Landscape Architect Khairul Amin to share his insight on public realm landscape design using sustainable concrete solution in Kuala Lumpur. Please welcome.
All right. Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to everyone. So I hope that everyone can hear me clearly. So morning to everyone. So basically I'm not here to represent whatever DBKL or Kuala Lumpur City Hall is, but I'm just here to share my knowledge and some of my experiences throughout my career as a landscape architect, especially during my time in Kuala Lumpur City Hall. So I'm going to share with you guys a few projects that could actually give us a glimpse and some brief of how do we treat public realm or public spaces, open spaces in Kuala Lumpur. So normally these projects are being conducted internally in Kuala Lumpur City Hall, and we do get advices from professional bodies and also involvement with consultants if there are any in certain projects, and also with the contractors as well. So today we're going to talk about the public realm landscape design using sustainable concrete solutions in Kuala Lumpur. Uh, uh, so let's talk about the public realm itself first. All right, so I'm going to share my slide so that everyone could see actually the guideline on our presentations today. And I'm sure that half an hour is not like a very enough time for us to talk about everything, but at least I would try my best to share with you guys the most that I could regarding the public realm in Kuala Lumpur, especially in managing its sustainability using concrete solutions. So first of all, just let me give you a little bit of introductions on the outline of our sessions today. I'm going to give just a simple brief of 4 outlines. The first one is introductions on types of projects that I've involved in that have connections with public realm in Kuala Lumpur, and some glimpse of public realms as well. I'm sure that everyone here might be familiar with public realm terminology, but is just in case if anyone haven't heard about public realm, so this might be an introduction for you to take a glimpse of it and to understand more on the public realm itself. And then I'm going to show you a few examples on the public realm landscape projects in KL and some way forwards or how do we see the futures in this public realms stuff, especially in this concrete solution space of design. So the next one, these are list of the projects that I'm involved in regarding the public realms project. So just like what Dr. Sarudin mentioned earlier, I was involved in Taman Rimba Kiara Park, or nowadays we called it as a Taman Awam Bukit Kiara, and then also upgrading few public spaces like Taman Dusun Banda, Laman Sultan Ismail, Bulatan Merdeka, Heritage Trail, River of Life, and others. So these are the projects that have been done in Kuala Lumpur City Hall to enhance the public realm for the public. So there are few criteria, there are few categories of public realms in Kuala Lumpur City Hall organizations. However, today's focus is going to be more on the public spaces that we categorize as pocket park only. Right, so I'm going to show you a few pocket parks or few open spaces, because if you're talking about public realm, streets or a walkway itself could be a public realm area if it has meet the criteria. So somehow I think it's good for me to share with you guys the spaces that actually much more bigger, so that you could see a bigger picture on how do we conclude this area to become a public realm. So now moving forwards on the approaches, how do we enhance projects in Kuala Lumpur City Hall? However, as earlier disclaimer that I want to share with you guys, this is not in any guideline or any written statement in Kuala Lumpur City Hall. This is just based on my experience, our aims in the government, in the department, and also this happens throughout our on our workload based requirement. So how do we approach these public spaces or public realm area is by upgrading or redeveloping the area, because as you know that Kuala Lumpur has a very limited open spaces available. There are not much more spaces that are very abundant or not been developed. Most of the area has been developed, so our job is to enhance the area, whether it's to upgrade it or to redevelop the area as a whole. So this includes the parks, open spaces, pocket parks, plaza, etc., etc. And another approach for us is to bring back people to the city, whether it's to stay or to visit KL, because if you notice that nowadays people are trying to go to KL just for the purpose of working, visit, and then they go back to their home. So one of our aims and approach is to bring back people to stay more longer in Kuala Lumpur. so that it could be alive more. And then another one is to have a functional landscape area, and then to aims for sustainable ecosystem, urban and ecological where possible, and then to work together with NGOs, etc., wherever it's possible. Okay, so we have done this previously with many and various NGOs and also companies, institutions, and other government agencies as well. So we hope to have more of this. In the end, we aims to have sustainable city in the garden. This recently been talked about, especially by the mayor himself, that we want to have a city in the garden. So in order to have that, we aims towards sustainable city. So where we have less maintenance, where we have we don't have to redo the area over and over and over again. So we are looking for the best solutions in terms of softscape and hardscapes, so that area could achieve this, its sustainability, and then we could save the public's money as well, and the government monies, so that we could move forwards to the other spaces as well. Right. So the objective is, as I said, to have the sustainable city in the garden, less maintenance, and connecting the dots. Talking about connecting the dots is actually uh, parts of our Kuala Lumpur Pocket Parks Master Plan, in which we aims to have few, not few lah, we aims to have numerous numbers of pocket parks in Kuala Lumpur City Hall. So, and in order to do this, we also redefine the pocket park itself. If you see the definition, the initial definitions of pocket park is space within buildings in a commercial area. So we try to redefine that as any open spaces that are available within the commercial area, whether it's been compressed or surrounded by the buildings or not, as long as it is within the buildings in the commercial area. So we are trying to connect the dots so that people has a very good walkability, and they could actually enhance the walkability from one space to another. Nowadays also we try to do projects like Heritage Trail and also River of Life, in which people could walk actually if they want to from Mid Valley to the Kuala Lumpur city center just by walking, right? So that's the aim, to enhance the walkability, the feasibility of the city, in which this will enhance as well, to contribute more on our next target is to lower the carbon in the city under the low carbon society blueprint. All right. So this is one of the initiatives done by the Kuala Lumpur City Hall to lowering the carbon in the city by 2030. So we aims to have like lowering the carbon by 70% on the year of 2030. All right. So moving forwards on the public realm itself, talking about public realms, many of you might be knowing this, that any public spaces or any spaces that is free and open to everyone, this is what we call as public realm. So, however, if you see and look deep towards other scholars on defining the public realm, there are many categories. There are many attributes that need to be fulfilled in order for the place to be called as public realm. However, we in Kuala Lumpur City Hall take these general definitions to define the area. Right? So public space is intimately linked to the ideas of universal access, the common ground, and shared amenities. So wherever any spaces that are open to the public, where people can go, walk, do any activities there, that is place where we consider as public realm. In these sessions, I'm just going to talk about few case study in pocket parks and open spaces to summarize this public realm as an example. So the next one we're going to see on the public realm project in Kuala Lumpur. There are a few actually, but I'm going to take only a few. There's only a few projects for us to talk on this public realm. Now, before we go deeper, I just wanted to introduce you guys with certain initiatives done by the Kuala Lumpur City Hall as well, in which this recent year we are enhancing more, focusing more on the pocket parks, okay, in the most possible way in our urban area. we try to build the pocket parks to complement the concept of tropical garden city as part of our visions. And then, just like what I mentioned earlier, we try to redefine that. Although that space is not that really confined between buildings, if it is actually a bigger space in a walkway, or like in a corner of a walkway, we have a bigger space, we would like to turn that to become a pocket park. And we are still in the process of looking towards this, whether it's the best solutions or not. So I'm not here to say that this is the concrete, solid solutions on having pocket parks, because we are still studying on how do we turn walkways with a bigger space to become a pocket parks. So our pilot study going to start on the end of this year. If MCOs extend, we're going to start projects in near Sogo. I'm going to tell you later on the site on how we transform a widened walkway to become a pocket park, in which it doesn't defeat the initial purpose of it's become a walkway. It's like a walkway in a garden, kind of like that, lah. Right? So, okay. So methods of us implement these pocket parks is by two options. Now, the first one is having a project by our own in Kuala Lumpur City Hall. The second one is by CSR projects or adoptions with collaborations programs with any agencies, any company to build and maintain this pocket park. Right. So one of the example is like in these pictures is collaborations with the Chowkit Hotel, previously known as the Tune Hotel in Jalan Sultan Ismail. We did this in the years of 2018 and 19. It's been completed. It's actually a walkway in which we turn it to become a mini pocket park as well. All right. So the next one. So in order to achieve this low carbon to 2030, we aim to have more pocket parks, more public spaces, more green area year by year. So at least by the year of 2030, we're going to have more than 10 or 20 pocket parks in Kuala Lumpur City Hall. So this is going to be one of the biggest, I would say not the biggest project. I would say that one of the biggest attempt to have pocket parks in the city. All right. So moving forwards, I'm going to share with you guys one of the initials or earlier project that been done in Kuala Lumpur City Hall to transform the urban fabrics to become more lively and vibrant. Laman Sogo. I'm sure that everyone is very familiar with Sogo. During Hari Raya, everyone's go shopping there. And then this area is already well known since 1980s, 90s, in early 2000 until today as well. But what happened was in the years of 2014, former minister on that time give a challenge to Kuala Lumpur City Hall to transform the city, started with the area of Jalan Tar. And the starting point was selected in front of the Laman Sogo. So the challenges is we have to finish this project within 1 month time period. So it's very quite challenging from the design process, constructions, everything has to be completed within 1 month time, because this has become the what you call as a pilot test project on how do we have a very vibrant new image of public realm area in KL using the less maintenance materials, long-lasting and hardy plants, and also the best maintenance later on with a very minimum cost. So with this challenge, we try to come out with ideas, the simplest that we could have on that time, and we try to figure out everything. How do we handle this in the easiest way that we could, so that we could achieve the fastest result as we can. So if you see the initial pictures of Sogo, okay, there are few problems having in this open area, right? There is not much seamless open space in Kuala Lumpur and Sogo as well, because in this area, the curbs is very high on that time. So we have to like realign it a bit so that we could have a seamless open space, okay, to enable the disabled people to move freely in the city. And then we have a very segmented user space. If you notice on that time, there are a few what you call as a few segmented area with planting as a barrier on the area, right? And then we need a new surfacing, and then waterlock problem due to gradient, and then to enhance and rebranding the image, and we need to rebrand the planting material as well, right? So I'm going to share with you guys the next pictures. This is the concept on earlier projects for this Laman Sogo. Okay, so this is the new one, the new image of Sogo that been done, in which we clear everything in the middle of it. Just we leave the big trees in the middle to give shades to the public. So as the output, you could see that public could sit together there, having a chance to see one or two performance only on the same time together from end to end, right? And then, okay, so this is the perspective view of it, in which you could see, I'm not sure if you could see it clearly. First one, we have new surface and open spaces, obstacle-free, seamless. We get rid of all the plants in the middle of the area. There is another challenge as well on this area. If you notice or if you're aware that public peoples in Kuala Lumpur are very clever one. Okay, any trees to be cut off or to be removed, they will simply give a complaint, right? They'll complain directly to us. So we have to do this very careful to ensure that public is not shocked, public is not shocked with the rapid and sudden change of the area. So what we did is we tried to have we tried to cut out the trees during the night and replace it right on the next morning with the new trees on the left, so that that could actually help in terms of the rapid changing scenario on the area, because we have to close certain of this area for like almost a month, in which you know that Sogo is quite impossible for you to close the area, right? It is very impossible. People are even getting angry with us, getting mad with us on that time. Why are you people blocking the area when you know that it is a peak time for them to go and shops? If not mistaken, it's almost end of the year, after Christmas, if not mistaken, end of the year, early of 2014. Okay, so people are really having their times for shopping, so they get mad over with us, banyak complain, and then we have to deal with it within that 1 month. All right, so this is the only project that I have to be there like almost every day, just to make sure everything's being done properly with my other teams. Okay, so if you see that this has been done by internal department of Kuala Lumpur City Hall, with the architects, engineers, and others, with the contractors as well. So the next one I'm going to share with you is due to the time constraint, it made us to come out with few the best solutions that we could have on that time on how do we rebrand this area. Because as I mentioned earlier, one of the problem is we have waterlocking on the area and the gradient problem on this area. Okay, just imagine that if this area was a little bit slanting, actually, to be honest, on that time, if you walk, you could actually feel the gradient is not even. Okay, you could feel that previously before this area has been done. So what we did was we tried to realign back the gradient to make it seamless, and then we still have the water to flow. Another problem is here we got a lot of another problem is that Sogo, they usually wash the area early in the morning, okay, because of the dirts that happen from the trees, and also from the birds, and also from the publics that always sit there with their foods and drinks, etc., etc. They always wash and sweep the area with water and soaps-based solutions, right? So we have a problem there when the water with soaps kind of a solutions to go directly to our planting area. This was happened even before the project been started. So we was thinking of how do we ensure that this kind of water did not flow directly to the area where we have our new planting to be placed. So therefore, we come up with solutions to have a space or a line of like area which could absorb the water before it's directly drain out to the green area, to apply the porous concrete material. Nowadays, we call it as an aqua-built material. It's a permeable concrete surfacing along the streets. All right. So whenever the water flows, it will flow directly there first, and then only the rest going to flow towards the planting on the left, which you see. Right. So that is one of the solutions that we have on that time, with time constraint, budget constraint. So this is the best material that we could find on that time, using a porous concrete, or we call it as aqua-built nowadays. It's a very good material to absorb the water, right? So we solve the problems of water ponding, the soaps solutions based used by the Sogo, and also it enhanced the gradient as well of the area. And another one is, as you could see that this material is less compact compared to the other materials. So in this stretch, actually, it's been located on that area purposely. If you could see on the side later on, I'm going to show another picture. It's been aligned the whole stretch of the area under the tree as well, so that actually is giving a very good surface surrounding the planting area, because it's less compacted, right? So this is the Sogo areas of the project. So this is what I'm talking about, less compact. Okay, so we have this on the left side, a strip of porous concrete. It's less compact to the planting space of the big trees on that area, so the water can go through it. So yeah, I would say that this is the best one that we had on that time. All right, moving forwards. Another thing that I want to share with you guys is the Laman Medan Tuanku. So I'm going to talk a little bit on this side actually. So I'm not going to explain more on the process, because this is a normal process, but I just want to enhance on this is one of the projects that we do actually with a very detailed study towards the stakeholders on the area, right? On what the needs on the space on that time. How do public want to use that space for? So we make a design using that requirement, right? So we even have a few times of public engagement process, where we ask the public on how the arrangements should be look like, how big the open space they do need on that area, what type of furnitures do need on that area. So those are the things that we ask the public on that time. So we come out that as a conclusions, what they do need is safety, comfort, balance, sustainability on the area, and also a functional space for them. Because in this area, actually, we do have a few important public stakeholders here. We have Job Street, we have Maybank, we have post office and other restaurants as well. So this area quite busy during morning, afternoon, and also in the evening after the office hours finish. So, all right. So I'm sorry because I couldn't share with you the detailed drawing of this design that been done by us. I'm just going to show you the conceptual, because inside the detailed drawing of the SketchUp, there are a few things that have been taken out that couldn't be shared with you guys. So I'm just going to share you the initial conceptual. So the initial concept of the area is just to show movement and the patterns of this area. There's a story behind it actually. This been done in the years of 2017. If you could remember 2017, where we have our SEA Games. So if you could see the pattern of the logo of SEA Games, dia macam tu. So that is why the design of this area having that types of stripes, right? Because the top management would like to have that kind of image, vibes of the logo on the surface whenever we see that from the above of the elevated walkway. Okay, if you could see in the pictures on the left, there is an elevated walkway that could actually see the site as the pictures that are shown on the left side down. All right. So this is the area before the constructions. You see that we are using normal material there with grass. Actually, to be honest, this area was actually parking lots for motorcycles. Okay, it's full with motorcycles. So after the public engagements, they do need spaces for them to sit, for them to walk, and then for them to have activities on that time. So if you could see on the pictures on the right side below, there is a Toyota there. They would like to have a requirement or for them to have a showcase area. Okay, so we allow that for them. And then there are a few not permanent hawkers there selling products, selling nasi lemak in the morning. We allow them as well. So that's why we have a very big open space on that time. But we couldn't see this anymore during this pandemic time. Hopefully we could see this again later on. Right. So moving forwards, I'm just gonna go fast. So this is the material. Again, in this area on that time, we have a problem of like water pumping during raining season. So one of the best solutions we try to figure out is we try to implement again this material of aqua built in this area. Okay, because as I said earlier, we try to have a sustainable area, which we try to explore material on this period. This was produced and built on the years of 2016, if not mistaken, 2016-17, where we try to explore few materials, to be honest. And then we come out with with two pocket parts on this area. I'm going to show you the next pocket part later on. But with this one, we try to explore this aqua built, and then the next one we try to use tiles and broom finish. So surprisingly, just to share with you, after 5 years, the conditions of the site is still the same, just like what you see in the picture. All right. So I'm not trying to say to you guys that this is the best materials ever in the world, but as an experience from us, having this material in this area, the colors, the durability of the products is still remain as it is on this area. We haven't seen any cracks yet so far. So far as I noticed, I haven't received any complaints to replace the material yet. I haven't received any complaints to replace the whole stretch of the materials. Nothing yet to change the area. Okay, so to do this material, actually we have few options to install the colors. The first one is to inject the color directly to the material. The second one is to to paint it. Just like what I showed in the pictures. In this area, we paint the material. We paint this aquabuilt because we are quite uncertain of the. Initially, we quite uncertain on the width of the the size of the stripes, to be honest. And then we have to move faster as well. And to have this kind of a pattern, one of the best ways to have it is just by painting it. Right? So maybe we could share this more later on with Dr. Jega as well, if any way possible is to do and to have this later on, right? All right. So moving towards the conclusions. All right. So this become one of the most I would say it's not really alive like other places, but from its being abundant, people normally before do not walk, sit, or be in this area because it's become it's previously is a motorcycle parking area. So nowadays you can see people walk there, sit there, mingle around with their families, mingle around with their colleagues, become a stopping point where they sit with their colleagues during rest time and others. Right. So moving forwards, another public realm projects in Tun Perak Pocket Park. Okay, just pictures of it. I'm not going to talk about it because we have a time limitations here. So another solutions that we have in this area is to have material what we call as a exposed concrete aggregate. Okay, for this area, this one on the walkway. All right, this is the pocket park Laman Sultan Ismail that we did concurrently with Laman Medan Tuanku that I introduced to you guys previously. It's located just in front of the Laman Medan Tuanku. Okay. All right. So this is what I mentioned earlier. In this area, we did not use aqua build, but we use normal concrete with broom finish and also some tiles. Not talking bad about tiles, but unfortunately, this area we did change some portions of it because of the heavy use of the area, perhaps. Okay, because if you look deep on the user behavior in Kuala Lumpur, is another problem. How come they bring their cars to this area? Okay, they drive the car and park on these pocket parks is a very, I would say, a behavior that we should not do. Right. So this is another project that we have in Kuala Lumpur City Hall regarding the surfaces. Here we use exposed aggregate as well, and near the river mostly we use WPC. Right. So I think we move to the conclusions as well before we go to the way forwards. All right. So these pocket parks, guys. In the end, we try to figure out again how do we achieve the sustainable city through this pocket park, because this pocket park was built purposely to reduce the carbon, the amount of carbons by the years of 2030. So adding this pocket park in the city, in these urban fabrics, it added value of the usable open space to the city green network as well. It connecting the dots, increased the walkability in the city. We did find that it increased the greenery as well, and we hope so that it could lowering the carbon. And surprisingly, it also helps in increasing the economy within the vicinity of the area, especially in Laman Sultan Ismail. It does help the hotel bodies on that area to gain more public coming on that area during daytime. Previously, we discovered that during daytime, people are not going there. They are just using the space area during the nighttime. Okay, so after this area was built in the years of 2016, it also being activated during the daytime. So it enhanced the sense of pride and belonging and visual enhancement in the city. So moving forward, guys, we aims to have again towards the sustainability, city in the garden, and more public realm and also KL related plans, what I'm talking about is we are trying to implement as much as we could. If you notice that we have few plans to be implemented, especially urban design guideline, Kuala Lumpur structure plan, low carbon society is part of it. Okay, so we aim to build more public realm spaces, especially pocket parks in the future, to encourage others to be part of these initiatives as well. So until now, we have few pocket parks already, and we aim to have more. And by the years of 2020, and in the end of 2020, if inshallah, if the pandemics end, we aims to have another 2 or 3 new pocket parks in the area, in the city center. All right. I couldn't tell you guys where it is yet right now. However, looking forward on this kind of concrete solutions in public realm, Kuala Lumpur City Hall, we aims to have less maintenance materials. We try to figure out what are the best solutions for us to have to choose the less maintenance material. That is why you could see that normally in KL we use concrete based material, whether it's a broom finish, exposed aggregate, and this aqua built. These are one of the types of material that we try use every time. We try to minimize using tiles. We try to minimize to use material that could easily broken lah, because this might increase the cost during the maintenance period, because we have to maintain it every year. We spend a lot if we have to keep on changing that place. All right, so hoping for we could move forwards with better solutions later on. And we also open and encourage people's publics to keep coming to us, share with us the latest product, the latest design solutions could help us the best. Right. So in conclusions, yeah, so I think that's it. Hoping for that we could work together later on. If any of you want to have like collaborations, we welcome you guys. So thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Landscape Architect Khairul Amin, for the informative sessions. Based on the projects, we could see that the Pervious concrete is durable, long-lasting, and very suitable in public space for various purposes. I think the Landscape Department of Dewan Bandar Kuala Lumpur has done a great job in showcasing and applying sustainable landscape principle and practice to lower the carbon, connect the dots, and reviving the public realm for common good in Kuala Lumpur. Before we continue, we shall have a pop quiz. Based on the previous sharing session, we will select 3 winners, which will win a limited edition stationery set courtesy of YTL Cement. Please write down your answer in the question and answer tab just beside the participants tab to answer the question after the question been mentioned. The 3 winners will be announced and the prize will be posted soon to the office or the address. Okay. So the question is, AquaBuild is easy to maintain, long-lasting, and durable. Yes or no? Okay, I repeat the question. AquaBuild is easy to maintain, long-lasting, and durable. Yes or no? All right, so we are looking for, yeah. The answer is coming in. 13, 14, okay. So let's have a look. Who's the winner?
Can I answer that?
Let's look. Okay. Okay, the fastest 3 are Muhammad Haidir Mansur, Landscape Architect Muhammad Lokman Osman, and Isaac Liu. Okay, congratulations. We will contact the winner shortly after the event. Okay, thank you. Okay, so we also would like to take this opportunity to introduce the AquaBuild material, which is widely known as hydromedia. AquaBuild is a fast draining, pervious concrete solution that rapidly directs stormwater of streets, parking surfaces, driveway, and walkway. And this actually reduce non-point source pollution being driven to our water bodies in urban cities, in urban areas, and also related ecosystem. So let's have a look on the video, please. Okay, thank you very much for the video. We look forward for this material to be installed in public spaces and develop new narrative in landscape design solution, particularly for sustainable development approach. Okay, so now we have entered the question and answer session with our speakers. Landscape Architect Khairul Amin of Landscape Department, Dewan Bandar Kuala Lumpur, and Dr. Jagadish from Business and Product Development of YTL Cement. Please allow me to introduce Dr. Jagadish. Okay, Dr. Jagadish Kannadasan completed his Bachelor in Civil Engineering at University Tenaga Nasional in the year of 2011 before enrolling directly into PhD program at University Malaya. He received his PhD in Concrete Technology from the Faculty of Civil Engineering in 2016. His area of expertise include self-compacting concrete, green concrete, concrete admixture, and concrete durability. Currently, Dr. Jagadish is the manager in business and product development at YTL Cement. He is an investigator at the Buildcon Concrete Sdn Bhd, was working closely with YTL Cement, YTL Slag Cement, and Batu Tiga Quarry, which are all the subsidiaries companies of YTL Cement. He is currently carrying out research on cement, aggregates, and admixture to develop new types of concrete to suit the industrial application. Okay, so for participants who have questions to specific panel, please mention their name in your question in the question and answer tab, again, besides the participants tab. If the question does not mention any panel's name, we will open the question to both panels. Okay, so please write your question question in the question and answer tab now. Okay, but I'm not sure I understand. So let me start with the first question to Landscape Architect Khairul Amin. So in Landscape Department of Dewan Bandar Kuala Lumpur, is there any guideline to be followed by consultant if they are considering to install AquaBuild in their project?
Do you mean a guideline in terms of specific material?
Yes, specific material or installation or method statement, any kind of material, any kind of guideline.
Try to make it short. There are no definite or specific guideline in choosing or applying any type of material. It's just that in view of our existing plans and guidelines like urban design guidelines, we do have also heritage trail master plan, Kuala Lumpur city structure plan. In these types of plans and guidelines, we only listed that the materials in generally, it has to be sustainable, low maintenance, and very durable. So sustainable, durable, low maintenance, these are the criteria that we we have in mind in terms of choosing material in any public spaces in Kuala Lumpur. So we do not have any definite specific guideline in terms of what types of material need to be chosen, as far as I am concerned lah. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks, Pak Khairul Amin. So we will start with the first question from Mr. Mustafa Wazi. This is a general question for both panel. Thank you for the presentation. My question is there any green sustainable criteria to be followed before building, before constructing, I believe, in Kuala Lumpur? So I believe this question mostly related with landscape architect Khairul Amin. Dr. Jaga can add on later. So, landscape architect Khairul Amin, would you answer this question?
How is it again? The questions?
The question is there any green sustainable criteria to be followed before construction or building in Kuala Lumpur?
Green criteria.
Green sustainable criteria.
Green sustainable criteria. Let me recall. Hold on, because we have a lot of guidelines. So let me recall a few of it. Okay. The closest one would be, I think, urban design guideline. There are a few. If you could have a chance to read urban design guideline, we do have certain basic requirements on how do we treat greens development in the city. And then, in fact, in the ROL initial master plan also, they have a big 4 books guidelines in ROL, but that one is specific for ROL areas only, and within its vicinity, on how do we treat new urban green spaces development. But in terms of the method statements on how do we install the green area, there are not such things to be definite as well, as long as it meet the best practice of how it's going to be installed, especially in this landscape architecture's field. It is quite good enough already, because there is, as far as I'm concerned, there are no definite written guideline in this for the Kuala Lumpur City Hall. So the closest one, you might refer to the urban design guideline, and also to the River of Life project if it is within the vicinity of River of Life project.
Maybe I can just add on a bit to his answer. I think being the most widely used material in the world, I think concrete comes second only to the water, right, as the world's most consumed resources. So the topic of sustainability and environmental management always arise. So I think we, YTL Cement, being the key player in this field, always strive to produce the most innovative and yet green material or sustainable solution for different construction purposes. So in this regard, with talking about the locally available material, I think in YTL Cement, we've been aggressively promoting all these recycled material and also industrial waste to be incorporated into most of our products. Say, for example, we have a range of green products incorporating fly ash, which is a byproduct from the electric power stations such as the Masquerade Low Heat as well as Masquerade Eco, which are actually proven to lower the carbon footprint by about approximately 20%, right? And also we have the Slag Sam series, which also encompasses of iron slag waste, and I believe is a very durable product against sulfatic regime, besides suppressing so-called the carbon emission. So in our aqua build, okay, we do have some amount of fly ash, and possibly we can also incorporate slag into it, to actually promote towards the sustainability of the environment. And I think we are really committed towards that.
And Dr. Saruddin, if I might add a little bit, I just read again Mr. Mustafa Wazir's questions. Regarding the sustainable criteria, another one, if you want to do development not only on the public space in Kuala Lumpur, if in any development or for private development as well, we also still encourage and enhance the needs of having 10% greenery in the development as well. And then another one, nowadays we are trying to introduce and to encourage people to having a vertical greens area if could be possible in any ways. But it's not been written anyway. We just keep on encouraging if it might be or possible to be done. Yeah.
So basically, to answer the question of Mr. Mustafa on green sustainability, it's actually generic guideline in landscape architecture field, and some of the guidelines from Dewan Bandar Kuala Lumpur on urban design guidelines, right? And the experimental method from YTL, we can still customize this material.
And to add one more thing, there is one plan we call as Plan Pengurusan Pokok Rendang. That is how we manage a site with big trees. So you could look towards it. It's available online as well. But how do we manage area with those green area, existing green area?
All right. Thank you. Landscape architect Karamin, Dr. Jaga. So let's move to the second question from Anonymous. I hope to know the name of the pointers of question. So good morning. Thanks for the interesting project and great efforts in considering public realm. Okay. The question for landscape architect Khairul Amin, in Laman Sogo, are the matured palms transplanted to other place? And the second question is, in Laman Medan Tuanku, how did DKL cater the motorcycle parking needs? Because these are previously overflow parking area for motorcyclists. And the question for Dr. Jaga and also landscape architect Khairul is, do we need to treat the compacted soil below the porous concrete so that the water can easily seep through? Okay, landscape architect Khairul, you mind to start?
Okay, boleh. The first question is in Sogo, right? So just want to share you, hold on, I'm trying to find the pictures if good for the second pictures, for the second questions, but I couldn't. It's okay. All right, so the first question is in Sogo. Do we transfer the matured palms in the to another place? So during that time, we do have our own arborists to do tree assessment on the trees existing on the area. There are a few trees actually, Bauhinia, Pokok Tapak Kuda, and also the palms. So the arborists assess the tree on that time, although it's just internal observations. Some of the, unfortunately, the Bauhinia is not in good condition, so we have to cut it down. And the palms, we did try to transfer some of it, one or two, and the rest we have to cut down also because of the conditions of the palm on that time is not good already. If you could see, I still could remember one of the palms did ada lobang kat situ. There is a hole on the trunk of the palms as well. So that palm we cut it, and then the rest we transfer back to our own nursery. If I'm not mistaken, masih ada kot rasanya. Kalau tak silap lah. So the next question is, how do we cater motorcycle parking needs in Medan Tuanku? So this is another interesting part of this project. We do actually a pilot test on the area. We try to close the area of the parking space, cut down into half, and the rest we turn it to become a potted plants area on that time during the pilot study. So what we do is we try to observe the area within almost 2 to 3 weeks. So surprisingly, although there are demands of the parking lots, we do not see during the test overload parkings happen in the area. So meaning to say that they know how to they know how and where to go park other than that area. Right? They do complain initially in the early stage of that pilot study to us, right? So but we try not to to give them any feedback yet, just to see on the responses. But after certain period of like 2 to 3 weeks, we do see that they have a tendency on trying to find the nearest parking lot that they could have. So this is actually coming back again to Malaysians' behavior, in which actually they need parking right in front of the door. You know, kalau boleh depan pintu tu ada parking, dalam tu dia parking. If they could actually park in the Maybank, they want to park in the Maybank. So what we did is we tried to like play stubborn and try to to stick with our decisions to cut down the parking lots number, and then we try to reduce it into half. And it's provenly success, where we could not see any parking overload parkings on that area as well. Sebab if you notice, previously before the projects have been started as well, although the whole stretch been done, although the whole stretch is actually a parking lots, it's not all the parking lots being used. Okay, there are like a few there, a few numbers here. So we try to calculate that numbers and transform it to become into one portions only. So that is where you could see in the pictures that I shared earlier. I'm not sure it's inside these presentations or not. It's before this tangga. Let me check. Do I have that? We still provide some of the parking lots, but it's not as much as it is previously lah. Let me show you some pictures of it. This tak ada yang clear. Okay, after the stairs on the right pictures, after the stairs, there are few parking numbers for the motorcycles. It's around like, if not mistaken, it's almost 35 to 40 parking lots there. And then also, if you see the pictures before there, in front of the side area, there is parking lots for car, and in front of the cars parking lot also there are a few numbers also for the motorcycle parking, right? So that is where we transfer some of the numbers of the parking lots for those motorcycles. So I hope that answered the questions.
Right, just to add up on that, the third part of the question regarding the design of the subgrade and also sub-base preparation. You see, when it comes to aqua build, all right, there are two major dominant factors that we have to consider. So the first one is what we call as the hydrological requirements, and secondly is the load-bearing requirements. So these two actually governs the design thickness of the aqua build itself. So when it comes to subgrade and also sub-base preparation, we always advise our customers to actually consult a geotechnical engineer, because we want to ensure that we have a very uniform level of subgrade support with a proper gradient. And we always recommend to compact the subgrade to about 90 to 95% of its theoretical density. Because you see, when you increase the compaction rate, it eventually will decrease the permeability of the concrete, which we don't want. So hence, a very stable sub-base is required, where we always recommend to our clients and customers to use crushed aggregates as much as possible. So, but when you talk about the soil itself, so of course, any construction requires a very minimum soil bearing pressure. So I think that is a must for any construction. So that's the question doesn't arise here.
Okay, thank you very much, Landscape Architect Khairul Amin and Dr. Jagatis. We're still waiting for other questions to come in. And while we're doing that, we're going to answer other questions being posed here. So the next question comes from Mr. Muhammad Kamal Ashraf. Kamal, CMP flooring specialist. What is the highest strength of an eco-built product? The highest strength.
Yeah, it's a very good question. Thanks a lot for the question. I think when it comes to strength, when you talk about the concrete industry itself, we can produce strengths as per the customer's requirement. There is no limitation in terms of the strength. But as far as I'm concerned, what we have been producing now for a very classic aqua build that we've been producing, the strength can go up to between 15 to 20 MPa. That is the most commonly available or the common aquabuild product that we have. But if, let's say, we can always bespoke, okay, the term is called bespoke, a product to meet the customer's requirement. Let's say the customers ask us, hey, I want a grade 50 aquabuild. Yes, we can definitely do a lot of optimization process, and we try to bespoke a product to meet the client's or the consultant's requirement.
So it's bespoke. Actually, you need to mention what are the requirements of the site and what are the requirements from the client in order to really manufacture the material to be installed on site. So
100%.
The word is bespoke. Okay. All right. So next question, the same person, Mr. Muhammad Kamal, how to take care of aquabuild product in the future, for the future?
How to take care, is it?
Yes, to take care.
Oh, okay.
In terms of, right. I think it's a general question on maintenance.
Okay. So it's a popularly asked question. It's a very hot question. Normally people ask, how do we actually maintain? If you listen to what Mr. Hairul was presenting earlier, he clearly mentioned that even after 5 years, the aquabuild remains there without any issue. There is no cracks. There is no any clogging. There is no deterioration in terms of color and all that. So the majority of the pervious concrete, in my opinion, will function very, very well with very little or even no maintenance. However, there may be some instances where sand, dirt, leaves, or other debris may actually infiltrate the white structure of the pervious concrete, and basically it will inhibit its permeability. So, but I think in most of the cases, based on my research and development works that we do in the lab on a continuous basis, the clogging rate is only limited to the first 1 to 1.5 inches of the pavement thickness. So I believe that routine cleaning can actually help to avoid this situation and restore the better than 90% of its original permeability. So probably I can just take this opportunity to everyone here. Once the pandemic is over, you're always welcome to visit our YTL, Wisma YTL Cement in PJ to observe and feel the 8 years old aqua build, which was laid over the parking lots. So there's been, these parking lots actually had seen little or almost no maintenance since their construction. They're still standing strong, right, without any maintenance. So the cleaning techniques investigated, what we found to be most, I would say, appropriate is that pressure washing. You can do pressure washing. You can do what we call as vacuum sweeping, or even a combination, a hybrid of these two methods. So pressure washing basically dislodges the clogging particles, washing a portion of site and flushing the remaining portion through the pavement surface. But when you talk about the vacuum, right, the vacuum sweeping, basically it dislodges the dirt and debris by means of sweeping action. I probably have seen this before, and removes them via the vacuum suction. So basically results show that utilizing either the vacuum pressing or either vacuum sweeping, you can actually improve the infiltration rate of the clogged aqua build by about 90%. And cleaning with a combination, all right, studies have proven that it's actually cost about 200% increase in the infiltration rate over a benchmark infiltration rate of the clogged samples. However, in my opinion, always I believe that the best maintenance that you can have is prevention. So a proper design and construction of pervious concrete should always include the consideration of the drainage, okay, of the drainage of surrounding areas to prevent the flow of potentially clogging materials, right? Clogging materials such as mulch or even dry leaves, debris, sand, or even clay particles. So, so these are the few, questions. But I think on top of that, we have been doing a lot of R&D works, and we found that maintenance is not a major issue. If you can do it, then probably you can maintain it for easily for a long period of time without or with a very minimal maintenance.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Jaga, for the answer. I believe it's more on the design part first, and prevention is better than cure. So if you have actually design really detailed in the design stage and construction, you will do the maintenance less during the maintenance period, right? So yes.
If I may, I'm not sure if you're aware that perhaps there is few questions also available in the chat box instead of in the question and answers.
Yes, yes. We will get into that later. Okay? All right. Okay, so thank you, Landscape Architect Hairul, for mentioning to me. All right, so the next question comes from Landscape Architect Anwar Muhammad Noor, side link. This was my previous lecture when I was in bachelor degree. He's a very technical person. Okay, it's quite mouthful, the question. Small area of urban spaces or land carry large amount of pollutants in stormwater in terms of organic compound, trace metal, or heavy metal. These are what we call non-point source pollution. Speaking about sustainability, using pervious concrete or surfaces need also to take into consideration how the stormwater treatment part of the solution in the planning and design. Is there any effort to consider the treatment of stormwater from the pervious concrete surface system as part of the treatment train, so that the receiving water body get cleaner stormwater? Okay, these are the.
I think I'll take up that question. I think it's a very wonderful technical question. Probably the administrator, can you please show up my slide, which I wanted to show? Yes, exactly. So just to give you a little bit of brief explanation on this, I think in our lab in Wisma YDL Cement, we've been continuously and relentlessly doing a lot of studies to actually so-called improve and also to further optimize our aqua build that we have. As we speak, what we have in the market now is called the Aqua Build Classic. As you can see there, the infiltration rate, according to the ASTM standards, which is about 1,980. All right, moving forward, when I speak to a lot of consultants, because we have always been communicating with a lot of consultants, landscape architects, and also architects, they always ask us, hey, can you try to come out with some kind of a design or some kind of a solution for the stormwater management system? So I think there's a right platform for me to share this. So we have come out, based on our R&D, we've actually developed 3 different new products for the Aqua Build. They are called the Aqua Build Enviro, Aqua Build Plus, and also Aqua Build Hybrid. So why did we do this? If you look at the application itself, Aqua Build Classic that we have now in the market are catering mostly for the parking surfaces, walkways, and also driveways. On the other hand, when you talk about stormwater management system, one of the main criteria, even in MASMA, MSMA, it is also stated that the infiltration rate or the surface runoff is one of the most important criteria. So taking that into account, we have actually tried to optimize back the design of Aqua Build itself, where we did a lot of porosity studies. We did a lot of internal packing aggregate studies to develop these 3 products. So eventually what happens is that these 3 products will have a larger infiltration rate as compared to the conventional one. So which means that the flow rate will be much more better. If you read most of the journals and also published reports, pervious concrete is one of the best solutions to prevent so-called pollution or the surface runoff pollution back to the water bodies. So I believe that with this higher infiltration rate, it can act as a solution for the stormwater drain-off system. At the same time, we are also investigating it for the garden water harvesting system, where in Singapore we can have that, as well as for the green roof. I think probably the green roof is something that we are we're doing a lot of studies on that, especially as we speak, because there's a lot of requirements, especially coming in from GBI, Micrest, and also BREEAM or even LEED, to incorporate certain amount of green elements into the sustainability of the construction industry. So I believe that with the introduction of this Aqua Build, with the range of this Aqua Build, so probably we can tackle those issues, especially the water that's going back into the water body. So
basically, it's still being experimented in the lab of YTL, but there are some options from Aqua Build, generally on the Aqua Build Enviro, Aqua Build Plus, and Aqua Build Hybrid. So these are among the options that we can use to try to see the treatment of the stormwater that being infiltrated through this material. All right.
I mean, just to add on, I think in YTL cement, even Bilcon concrete, we can always bespoke a specific product to actually meet the clients, customers, or the users' need. You know, if let's say they come up with a specific surface runoff requirements, or whether they want a certain strength requirement, or they want a certain kind of finishing requirement, we can always do that for them, no issues. We can always feel free to contact us. And we're always ready to go as well with the product.
So always we can still customize it with YTL based on the requirements. So it's a bespoke product.
Yeah, okay. I think we have got that capability, you know, to do that in YTL cement.
Okay, I think we are almost at the end. I will take a last question from the chat box. This is one of the good questions from the chat box that I think we can point out and discuss. Okay, the question from Ashasha. Okay, hi, just wondering if the concrete standard is as per JKR standards, or is there a different benchmark with the Pervious concrete, the Aquabit? Is there any different standard with the concrete standard of JKR? I believe this question for
I think the idea of the Pervious concrete is that it has been actually given as one of the sustainable material to be used for the sustainable solutions or applications. So I don't see any guidelines that is or regulation available as we speak. But going back to our standard concrete, say for example, ASTM, right, American standard, I think they do have so-called standards, you know, so especially when it comes to the infiltration rate of the concrete, because I think they speak more from the application point of view to meet the infiltration rate requirement. I think that dominates over the concrete, because when it comes to strength requirements, or whether it comes to the durability, based on our very extensive studies, we don't see any issues.
So we still can see the standards based on the JKR or YTL bespoke standard also can match together. All right. So we can still bespoke the product, whether it's based on JKR standard or whether on the private customization standard. So it's up to the client itself. All right.
100%. That's right.
All right. So I think we have arrived at the end of the session on the question and answer. I believe there's still a lot of questions out there, but I believe the time is limited because this is Friday, and that's the time being given to us during this session. So we will look forward for the next webinar. Of course, we will have this kind of webinar again soon, so that we can still throw up the question and discuss about this material later on. All right. So since we have reached the end of our session, so we have seen how the Pervious concrete fulfill the principle of and practice of sustainable landscape design, and we're still exploring the material itself, right? And of course, we can still bespoke the product based on the whatever standards that we have, whether we are a government agency, corporation, or private entities. We still can leverage this material as far as we can. Okay, we hope that this practice, some of the case studies that are being mentioned by landscape architect Hairul Amin, and generally by the Dewan Bandar Kuala Lumpur on landscape design in their pocket park, can be emulated and continued by other professionals in our built environment, and using Aquabit as part of the sustainable landscape design solution. I think to all participants, speakers, and on behalf of YTL Cement, we would like to thank you for your participation during this webinar. We sincerely hope that you have gained beneficial insight of the material itself, Aquabit product, and Pervious concrete application generally in landscape design. And for more information on Aquabit, please contact YTL Cement at vap@ytlcement.com.my. Okay, we really hope we could meet again in the future event. We will have this sort of webinar again soon. And with that, stay safe and bye-bye.